All right, good evening and welcome. This is the CSRN weekly podcast. And I know you're looking and saying, hey, isn't that? Yeah, it is. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. What we're going to do right now, in order to, for everybody to be able to get on the podcast, we're going to put 5 minutes on the timer. All right, let's maybe get some music on. All right, and we'll be back in 5 minutes. All right, we are back. This is the CSRN weekly podcast where we come to you live and talk about some of the things that we've done last week, the things that we're working on now, and some of the things that we've got planned, which you'll hear soon. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I use the pronoun he and him. I'm one of the co-founders of CSRN along with Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bey. Back in 2014, they had this crazy idea that just your regular rank and file people could speak truth to power, and they didn't have to be necessarily politicians, pastors, or preachers. They just needed to have something to say. And they came up with this thing called Community Solidarity Day. And they planned it all. And then I think Jabril or Mike gave me a call and said, hey, listen, we're having this thing. Can you help organize, and plan it? And Terry, that's one of the things that I do.
Yes.
Hey, I said his name, but okay. But we'll get to the other part later. So we did it, and here we are, 7 years, later, still doing this work. Let's see. Today I have on my brown rim glasses. I've got a short, close haircut, clean shaven. I've got a kind of a brown maroon type printed shirt with my beads and bracelets on. And as always, I'm dedicated to respecting, protecting, and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. This is the headquarters of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else. What we're going to do now, before we take a short break and come back, I'm going to read our mission statement, which should be in front of me, but I guess the good health is hard to find. All right, they put it out of reach of the cameras. All right, so this is our mission statement. We adopted this back in 2014, and whenever you're doing grassroots organizing, man, have something that you can fall back on, yes. Or else we could start out as a community community activists, but end up basket weaving because we didn't have a mission statement. So somebody else brought us theirs. All right, here we are. All right. So this is the mission statement of the Community Solidarity Response Network. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often police brutality goes without consequence and accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive community-based events that help to foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc. We want justice. Equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, regardless of creed, class, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. That last quote is from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. What we're going to do right now is take a short break. We're going to come back. Oh, and what we're going to do, our first clip we're going to show is Black Lido. Black Lido was an event organized by Alexia Sims and Community United. This was back in August at the Vibe Lounge.
Yes. They
had the whole parking lot planned, but you know what? The weather planned different. So they brought it inside, and Alexia made a short video. So let's roll with it. This is the Community Solidarity Response Network. It's our weekly podcast. We'll be right back.
Governor needs to dirt in the kitchen. Scupper needs to dirt in the kitchen.
All right, took us a minute to get back. Oh man, what is that? All right, hey, we're gonna have to holler at the tech team. All right, usually they just fade us back in, but hey, listen, we are back. This is Community Solidarity Response Network, our weekly podcast. We used to meet in person at 1416 Nebraska at the Padua Center right before the pandemic, but man, after what was that, March of 2020?
Yes.
Everything changed. I wasn't willing to meet in person because everybody, no, I don't know who you are, Daniel. I don't know who you are or who you've been with. So,
and even if you've known her for years, you know, that was
right. Hey, that's even more because I know you. I know how you get down. But yeah, we moved. We bounced around a couple of spaces. So shout out to the Padua Center. Shout out to St. Martin de Porres, who allowed us to have a Studio A, a Studio B. And then I think that maybe in April of this year, the Toledo Public Library started distributing these hotspots where you can have internet anywhere. And that changed the game for us. It allowed us to broadcast from anywhere. Right. All right. So right now we're headquartered, or at least we stream this from the Mott Branch Library. Hopefully soon we're going to open this podcast up so people can come and see it live. Maybe have something to say, you know, some questions, comments, and things like that. All right. Enough of that. Hey, listen, I want to introduce you to someone that I've known for a few years. Yes. So instead of me doing it, who are you? What do you have on, and what do you do?
Okay. You know what, Brother Washington, thank you so very much for having me. I just enjoy so much when I do see you, when we do run into each other.
Yes, sir.
The energy levels and the love that we've always shown each other. I really, really appreciate it. And, you know, thanks for having me on the show, too.
Awesome.
My name, for those of you who don't know, is Terry Crosby, and I'm an ex-professional basketball player. In a sense, a global humanitarian.
Okay, all right.
I've been around a little bit, and now I'm the community ambassador for Taylor Automotive Family. So it's just a pleasure to be here, sir.
All right. So briefly, you and I worked together.
Yes.
I think that you supervised while I changed the toilet paper, but I guess we call it
working together.
All right. So this transition to Taylor, how did that happen?
Well, a lot of people probably don't know my story since I've been back here in Toledo, but I was the education director at the Padua Center. Okay, working with the youth in the TPS school system. And I really, really enjoyed that because I felt with my life travels of being all over the world, playing professional basketball, and also going to college, university over in Manchester, I felt that I really need to start somewhere.
Okay.
So when I came back to Toledo in 2012, that's where I started. 1614 Nebraska Avenue.
Oh, did I say 1416?
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. It is. So I had it mixed up a little bit.
All right.
But yeah, the Padua Center. And you know what? To this day, I really, really appreciate that opportunity because it gave me a chance to really evaluate our city of Toledo.
Okay.
And I needed to do that because I hadn't been here. So you need to know what goes on around you.
That's right.
And so that gave me the opportunity over the 6-year period to find out what that was about.
Okay.
And so Taylor Automotive came up through some friends of mine that I know, Mr. Tom Cole. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
No, I'm not.
But he's also ambassador. He was there a year before I actually started. And he done such great work in certain communities. Taylor Automotive needed to identify that they needed someone to work in the urban communities. And so my name was brung up.
Oh, wow. They must have went right past my name. All right. All right, Taylor. All right. Okay.
So I was blessed to secure an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went to a second interview, a third interview, and they decided to hire me, which was fantastic.
Okay.
Really, really was.
All right. So here you are, the Taylor ambassador. And I think that the first time that I heard you say
Yes.
that, I think both of us, and we're just going to keep it 100.
Right.
All right. We both were at the NAACP, I think, monthly meeting, and you introduced yourself. My eyes rolled in back of my head, like, here we go. Because I've never heard that before.
Yes, yes.
And I didn't know what that was going to look like. So I immediately judged it, as we always do.
Yes.
We judge things without facts, without context. It's just what we do.
Yes.
All right. So what has that journey been like? You know, even having people like me in Toledo that know you but would judge you anyway.
Right.
How's it been going? And what are some of the things that you had to push through?
Okay, let me just briefly explain here. When I first started this position as a community ambassador
Right.
for Taylor Automotive Family, it was not an easy journey. Okay. I'm not going to necessarily go into detail.
Okay.
But the perception that I received initially from the community was very negative.
And I'm one of those.
Yes.
All right. I'm one of those. May have been one of the first to roll their eyes. All right. So, all right. Hey, that's okay.
And I think really, Brother Washington, a part of that was not knowing what that entailed. Okay.
Yeah.
The unknown,
Yeah.
you know, and we're always skeptical if we introduce to something that we really are
That's
not
right.
comfortable with.
That's correct.
So I just think a lot of the animosity or anxiety initially was based around the unknown. I'm not going to sit here and point fingers.
Okay. Well, you got me over here. All right. You can at least point one. All right. And I've been wrong about quite a few other things in Toledo, but
Right.
I'm really glad to see that if I start out thinking a particular way and then gathering all of the facts
Right.
and watching a person do what he or she does, and I'm like, wow. I mean, there's a couple of people that I thought that were, hey, you can't do that. And I'm just going to name drop a couple of people that I had no faith in, and they proved me wrong. The first person is Reggie Williams
Yes.
of the Duck.
Right.
All right. There was a time I'm like, Reggie, there's no way you're going to turn this around. No way.
And look what a tremendous job he's done.
Yep. So I'm going to just stop it with Reggie. So I'm not.
Oh, was I the second one?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, you're way down the line. All right. But I've seen a lot of people deal with opposition,
Yes.
you know, and push through. And that changes the perception that we see things now. You know, just you doing that. Now, what does a Taylor Automotive ambassador do? What is that?
Okay. I am so very, very fortunate and blessed to be able to travel the world,
Okay.
come back home where I was born and raised, Toledo, Ohio. This is my city.
Okay.
Okay. And be actually given a platform to give back to some of those same communities
Wow.
I grew up in.
Wow.
That is very, very powerful for me. And so it's like being a philanthropist, okay? A community philanthropist.
All right.
I love people anyway,
Yeah.
in general. And so after all these years of being away, if I can come back and support and help somebody, that's what I'm going to do. So really it's about locally owned, locally committed. We help organizations and individuals in our community.
Right. And if you want to see the proof in that, just
look on my Facebook page.
Go on. Yeah. Yeah. Like, all right, okay. How many pictures you gonna post? But this is from Terry being out in the community,
Yes.
and meeting everyone. And I've never seen you shy away from a community event.
Yes.
And I don't see you just posting everything from your office. You're out here with us.
Right.
And that does change the way that people look at a community ambassador. It doesn't necessarily have to be employed by the city.
Right.
And in reality, all of us are an ambassador to some extent.
Yes. Just something.
To something.
Yes.
And I think that you really shined on that. I don't think that they could have picked a better person, to do that, because you really had to do some trailblazing.
I sure did.
You had to change.
And some problem solving.
Right. And some problem solving.
Yes.
Because along with that comes whatever relationship we may have had with Taylor before.
Mm-hmm.
However we felt about how we were treated in the showroom, on the used car lot. That's where I'm going to be. All right. Or on the telephone.
Yes.
And look, there's some disconnect. All right. And here you are placed in the middle. So you inherited a lot of beef that we had before.
I sure did.
And we identify you as the whipping pole that we were going to take all of our frustrations out.
Right.
And really that was your test to see if you were really about this. Now, if you would have folded and went home, we would have said, well,
I told you.
Right. He wasn't a good ambassador. All right. I wish they interviewed me.
Wrong choice.
Right. Wrong choice.
Yeah,
wrong choice.
yeah.
So, having said that, what are some of the positives that, just as we're having this conversation now, what is some of the feedback that you received from having this position that none of us have heard about before? All right. What's been some of the feedback?
You know what, Brother Muhammad, here's the thing with me. I've been on Innocent Center stage for most of my life, competing in sports. Okay. And with that comes adversity. Okay. So that's one of the first things that I've really learned to deal with, and deal with it well.
Man.
Okay. Adversity. Okay. We're all going to face life challenges, adversities in our life. So when I started this job, that is pretty much what I face. But guess what?
What's that?
I faced it all my life.
Man.
So the way I normally dealt with situations, which is really in a positive way, that's how I dealt with some of the negativity when I first started being a Taylor community ambassador. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yes. So it really didn't bother me. Kind of stay with it, stay the course.
Yeah.
And kind of said, I can show you better than I can tell you. And so I just wanted the opportunity to have a platform, which I'm so blessed to have, really.
That's beautiful.
With Taylor Automotive, doing my job as community ambassador, able to give back, check this out, to those same communities I grew up in.
All right. All right, we're going to take a short break. And I don't know if we're coming back. I have to check my notes to see if we're coming back with you or if we're going to come back with Daniel Ortiz. So, hey, let's take a short break. We'll come back. This is CSRN, our CSRN weekly podcast. We'll be right back.
Pathway Incorporated Brothers United program believes that children are important. Every day we support and advocate for fathers because when children have involved fathers, the whole community thrives. The fathers that come into the Brothers United program are mostly young fathers who are primarily gang members or drug dealers or those involved in lots of trauma from the time when they were youth until now. The program has fatherhood classes which teach you about your role as a father, the importance of being a father, healthy relationships, how to co-parent and work better together with your co-parent, and then economic stability, how to get a job, how to keep a job. It is so important for fathers to learn to take care of their children holistically, not just emotionally, not just physically, but financially as well, because children need a holistic approach.
I really just needed help with really being a better father and looking for a job to be able to support my kids.
Some of the problems I was facing when I joined Brothers United was communication with my children. Had some time apart from each other for a while, so they gave me the tools to really get back in communication with them.
Fathers will come into our program with their heads down. 2 weeks later, their heads are up. 3 weeks later, they're laughing and talking. 4 weeks later, they're building a bond. And by the time we get to 8 weeks, they're saying, hey, we want to stay here. What can we do to stay connected?
It gave me a better perspective on how to look at things from other people's point of view. You know, sometimes us as men, we get caught up in being prideful and arrogant, thinking we don't need the help. We do. And we just have to put our pride, selfishness, and arrogance to the side. And when the help is there, take it.
Hope plays the most important role in everything that we do because we have to have hope. We have to remember that fathers are important, and we have to not only say it, but we have to live it, we have to breathe it, we have to do it, we have to convey it to everyone.
Let's get a BU Nation on 3, fellas. 1, 2, 3, BU Nation!
The dads give us hope. The dads supply for us on the days when it gets hard. On the days when we've seen more violence than we ever want to see. On the days when we've lost some dads to jail or to murder, they give us hope. And so the hope that lives can change. If you invest in them, if you believe in them, then lives can change.
Brothers United changed my life, let's say, because of where I come from, what I've been through. I learned to understand it is help out there. Don't be scared to ask for it. If you don't reach, you can't grab. That's it.
They made me more employable, more desirable by employers, which in turn helped me provide for my family and provide for my children and my grandchild. So it makes me a better man, a better father, and a better example.
It showed me like how to be better to my kids, so I went and got custody of my son. My son been with me for a couple months now. So this showed me how to be a better parent all around, just a better man, period.
Initially, I didn't know that it could change men's lives. I didn't know that fathers could change. But it's amazing to me when fathers come back a year later, 2 years later, and tell us thank you. Or they'll make a Facebook post and say, look at what I'm doing now. It's amazing to me about the level of work that we've been able to do and the lives that we've changed in just a short period of time. And the fathers who come back and say, thank you, I needed you, and you were there.
Shout out to Brothers United, man. Be you.
Man, something always happens. They are not reminding me. Hey, listen, we're back. This is the CSRN Weekly Podcast, just a weekend review. And we heard from our brother, Terry Crosby. Man, thank you for being here.
You're welcome, man. It was a pleasure to be here. I always enjoy that energy and love.
Right. Hey, listen, we've got our brother Omar Gent calling from Colorado Institute of Correction, which they don't correct anything there. Hey, brother, are you on?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right. Let me turn the volume up a bit. All right. Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you well. How's my voice?
Coming through real clear, my brother.
Oh, great. Hey, listen, for everyone that's, we may have some new viewers this week, as we always do. Who are you and what is freeourbrothers.com?
All right, thank you for inviting me onto this platform, and everyone who's a part of putting this wonderful platform together. Please support this platform because we're bringing the truth forward. My name is Omar Gent. I'm basically running from the office of telling the truth against the criminal injustice system. Like the brother said, they don't correct anything. This warehouse people, railroad people, as explained by my website, freeourbrothers.com. I'm fighting this injustice system to bring the truth to the people. So I need everybody's support.
Right. Now, one of the things that I've always wanted to ask you, being a confined citizen, what made you come up with the idea? Right now, we've got the website on our screen. So I've got myself and Terry in a small screen. We've got Free Our Brothers on a big screen. Hey, listen, how did you come up with the idea of freeourbrothers.com? Most people that I know would just do their time, come home, and whatever we do when we come home. But what made you want to decide to double down and help others while you are a confined citizen? How did that come about?
Well, my brother, I'm one of the thousands of brothers that have been, wrongfully convicted and just ambushed by the power of the state. It just came into my May 29th, 2008. It just came into my house with no warrant, threw my family out in the home, wouldn't let me get a meeting with my attorneys or nothing. So from that point, I decided that, innocence didn't matter to them. I was factually innocent of the crime. I was never on the scene of the crime, but these people had their mind made up. So I just decided that I wasn't just going to lay down. I was going to tell the truth. And to be honest with you, I do love my community, and I don't want to offend nobody out there, but I must tell the truth. I had to come up with the website because as I appeal to people in the local community, first and foremost, my community being original man, so for those who don't know, that means black person. One of the terms. I had to create the website because no one would step up. And it's very sad that when you're surrounded by a white supremacist structure, you're in prison and you're fighting an issue that's bigger than yourself, but people in your community who have the resources, who have the platforms, who have the organizations, they seem to be either too tied to the power structure or too afraid to help you. So you have to step up on your own.
Right. And right now on the website, we've got it on our screen. It says help build the campaign, to sign the petition, spread the word, and you are on Facebook and Instagram. Did we say that you were on Twitter?
Yes, sir. I'm on Twitter.
Okay. All right.
At Free Our Brothers.
All right. You even have the email. If someone wanted to email freeourbrothers.com, how would they go about doing that?
That's freeourbrothers #1 at gmail.com. freeourbrothers #1 at gmail.com. And please send your thoughts or any questions you have, with your email included, and I most definitely will get back to you.
All right. And how long have you been doing this? freeourbrothers.com. What year are we in? Are we in the second year? Or are we in the first year? Which I know we're not in the first year. All right.
To be honest with you, I lost track of time. It's been such a beautiful thing that we've been doing. I just feel like it's just been yesterday. I mean, like say you do what you love, you never work a day.
That's right.
Maybe like 3 years. going on 3 years.
And we're not getting ready to get off this phone, but I really appreciate you calling every week. And what this does for CSRN, it makes us relevant in our community. You know, that we're actually talking to you rather than reading a letter from someone, you know, and I really want to thank you for continuing to call in. And the last, one of the last tabs says to donate funds. For anybody that's streaming this podcast, watching it now, or maybe streaming it later, and they hear you talking, how can they donate funds?
From my understanding, I think it was a PayPal app on there.
Right.
Yeah, that app right there is how people can access it. And please don't feel those who can't donate funds. You know, just your thoughts. Anything you can do to help spread the word. Just please link with me at that email and Instagram.
Okay, now this comes to our question of the day. I was processing this question last week. I led a study group where we were coming together and talking about self-improvement, because self-improvement is the foundation of community development. Yeah, I just had something go off right there. All right. Hope I don't get, oh, let me say this. I don't own the copyrights to that song. So Facebook, don't mute my podcast. All right. So I was facilitating a self-improvement study group, and self-improvement is the foundation for community development. If we don't improve ourselves, how can we expect anybody else to take us serious? So my question that I posed to the group is, if you could give me 3 reasons why we can't give up now. And everybody talked about, you know, we're in it to win it. We're too close to the finish line. They gave all these sports analogies. I'm glad I got Terry here. All right. So for you, Omar, if you could give us 3 reasons why you can't give up now, what would those be?
Well, first and foremost, and real briefly, I would say I just got my final call subscription renewed, and I got the September 13th edition 2022 with the dear sister, dearly departed Abel Muhammad on there. And thank you for everybody who works at the beautiful paper and for keeping me abreast, because I was wondering how to get a back issue and it showed up in the mail. So thank you for everybody that did that. And I was thinking about the beautiful sister, Dr. Abel Muhammad's work, how she was this revolutionary. And it says something I read this morning. It said revolutionary awareness of any nation by the political maturity of that nation's woman is basically judged by that, not by the political maturity of that nation's men. And that is because women are the first life givers, the first teachers. So to think about Sister Abel Muhammad's work, you know, that's one of the reasons that, you know, we can't give up, because her life, her struggle, her testament shows and inspires, you know, what we need to do, you know, period. You know, I mean, I don't need to say no more, you know.
All right.
For her to come out and be one of the greatest defenders of the minister, if not the greatest, you know, the greatest defender of the minister, and not give up, you know, that says it all. Number 2, to me, would be, there's so many different thoughts going through my mind, but, you know, to be honest with you, the second one came to my mind was, we're in an age right now, well, look what I'm doing. I'm in prison, you know, states away from you, and I'm calling in.
Yes, sir.
To your podcast, and my voice is going out to who knows where. You know, continue to go through the airwaves. You know, we're in the age where everybody's connected. You know, we may not be getting along, we may not be reading the same things, but at a click of a button, we're connected. So the truth, the power that's being brought through our sisters like Dr. Abel Muhammad under the teachings of Honorable Minister Paris Louis Farrakhan, is giving us the ability, you know, whether you are Muslim, Christian, Jew, whatever it is, atheist, we have the power, the ability to connect all over the world and inspire life. And the third reason would be what I always say to me, basically, you know, the ancestors, look at their struggle and how they didn't give up. You know, they kept going, they kept pushing, you know, and who are we in these days? Even though I'm in prison, I'm sitting reading about brothers and sisters in the 1950s who had it 100 times worse.
That's right.
As far as condition-wise as me. You know, being chained to the bed all night, rats and rodents crawling all over you, people beating you halfway to death because you refuse to work. You know, it's this, people have to literally cut their legs and just self-harm themselves so they wouldn't be forced to work in those fields. You know, when I read stuff like this, I'm like, well, who am I?
That's
who
right.
am I to give up, knowing what the ancestors had to endure? And maybe a lot of these brothers and sisters died in those conditions, in those situations. Never really saw the day, but they, you know, never physically saw the day, but they envisioned it. So who are we to give up?
All right. Hey, listen, I know I'm going to hear that counter that comes on, and I'm going to try to put this in the can before the counter comes on and lets me know how much time I got. Hey, listen, we've got a situation here in Toledo. There's the Toledo Correctional Institution, and every other week, you know, we'll get mail or email of the brothers that are there that's striving to obtain humane conditions and humane care. What are some of the things that you could say to our brothers that are locked down there that they can keep hope?
Well, I'm in the middle of reading a book called Rethinking the American Prison Movement, and they go back and touch on the powerful work of the brothers in the Nation of Islam, you know, who were incarcerated in the 50s all the way up to the 70s and beyond, and talking about how, you know, they defied the racism, you know, of the institution, you know, by coming together, by filing lawsuits, not giving up, even when they were getting thrown in a hole for simple things as having a pen, paper. I can't imagine that. I have like 5-10 notebooks in my cell right now. I'd have been in the hole if I was in the 1950s, you know. Brothers not giving up, knowing that the struggle is bigger than what they're facing at the individual moment. A lot of these rights that we have, even though we have been deprived of our freedom,
yes, sir,
we've been deprived of the court, of getting access to the court so many times. But we do, let's be honest, brothers and sisters, we do have a lot of rights behind these bars that brothers and sisters, especially in the Nation of Islam, they laid their life down for, or they really put a lot of work in. So take advantage. Don't give up. Unify. Those of you who have family members behind the walls is willing to put your word out, reach out to those black newspapers. We don't have them out here in Colorado. Reach out to those black newspapers, the Final Call, the Toledo Journal, whatever you got to do. Put the word out. Apply the pressure. Show these people you're not backing down. And then they'll begin to back up. Just keep going, my brothers.
Brother, and as always, it's been a pleasure. And as always, brother, revolutionary salutes, brother, and shields up.
Shields up. Thank you all.
Yes, sir. That's our brother Omar Gent calling every week to not only get some instruction, but also give us hope. All right, because if he can keep it together there, then I don't have an excuse. Hey, family, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with our brother Daniel Ortiz. So just stay tight. This is the Community Solidarity Response Network. We'll be right back.
Did you know addiction is a disease, not a moral dilemma? The opioid epidemic and substance use have a major impact on communities of color and many people's lives. Wasion Wellness Recovery Support Center offers culturally relevant inpatient and outpatient behavioral health treatment and recovery support services to any Ohioan struggling with addiction, mental health, or finding sober-safe housing. We must recognize that treatment is available and accessible to all. If you are in need of treatment or want to find out more information, you can call 1-888-728-2713 to talk to someone or schedule an appointment.
Audio Jungle.
All right, we are back. This is the Community Solidarity Response Network. And if you're watching or this live, put something in the chat. Hey, what's up, or whatever. Hey, listen, and we've got a special guest with us, and this is going to be our pilot segment called Ortiz World. All right, we're going to look into the mind of my brother Daniel Ortiz and just see, hey, what's going on in the world of politics. But look, you know what? Before we even go there, could you introduce yourself? What do you do, and why do you care?
Yeah. So thank you so much for having me. My name is Daniel Ortiz, and I am a pharmacy technician. I work at a facility that we provide medications for patients that are in nursing homes. So in my pharmacy, we actually make IV meds. So
Okay.
I go into a clean room, you know, and make sterile compounds for people that are in nursing and rehab facilities. And some of you may know me. I ran for city council last year, and this year I ran for state representative for the new 43rd district. In both elections, I lost in the primary, but it was my first. Last year, the city council race was my first ever, first political thing I had ever done. And before that, in 2020, I worked as a precinct election official at the Kent Branch Library where I live in the Old West End. And that was like the spark that put me over to wanting to do more to be involved. That morning, and I know that you are a poll worker too, so you probably know, you probably saw something similar. That morning, the line to get in to vote was around the block before the polls opened.
That's right.
Before the sun came up. And so that was that image is kind of in my head forever, as when I was like, because you know, 2015 was like a turning point, right? Where I started to pay a lot more attention to politics.
Right.
And sorry, I touched the table. You're not supposed to touch the table. It's one of the only rules here.
Hey, okay. All right. He'd have told all our magic
listen,
stuff.
it's behind the scenes.
That's right.
But I just I was like, we can't just tune into politics every time there's a presidential election.
That's right.
We need to start paying attention to the off year and to the local elections. So 2017 was the first time I went and voted for city council, and that's when I started doing that. But then 2020, like I said, that was when I was like, I need to actually put my hands on something. I need to do something.
That's correct.
And I'll just say that I had no idea where to start. I don't feel like there's a lot of, at least there wasn't any outreach to me. I didn't cross paths with anyone who was in politics or in, even in activism or anything like that.
Right.
It just never happened that way. And so it's kind of crazy, but I was just like, I'm going to run for city council. And because I just felt like my peers, I'm 31 years old. I was 29 when I announced I was running. I felt like my peers weren't paying any attention to local politics for the most part.
Right.
And so I thought, if I run, then they're going to have to pay attention because they know me. They know who I am. They'll see someone their age running. They'll see someone who doesn't come from a political family or a background. It's like, I'm just a pharmacy technician. And maybe that'll get them to kind of tune in. And that's led us to where we are now. Why do I care? I think probably for similar reasons that you care, or maybe a lot of people watching and listening, is just you just see the injustice in the world. You see we we live in the richest country in the world. Everyone should have their needs met.
True.
We shouldn't be violated. We shouldn't be locked up. We shouldn't be brutalized by police. We shouldn't go into debt because we got sick or injured. Right? It's all these things. We shouldn't not be able to afford a home. We shouldn't. That's just kind of where I come from, and so that's why I care about politics and why I want other people to care.
All right. So this is still Ortiz World.
Working title.
All right, working title. and if you're out there, if you can come up with a segment, a name of this segment when we have Daniel here, we're going to try to maybe once every other week, and hopefully we can lock him down for every week, but every other week when you come. So right now the working title tentative is Ortiz World. All right. What do you see on the political landscape in Toledo that we need to start paying a bit more attention to?
Yeah, so I think what I kind of wanted to talk about today is I want to just establish how much agency that we all have, and that can be anyone who's watching or listening to this, whether it's live or you watch later.
All right.
It's really, I can't stress enough, in Toledo right now, these last few years, especially in our primary elections, but in these state and local elections and these quote unquote off year elections,
right,
turnout is single-digit %, right? So any way that you find to get involved, like the amount of impact that you can have is really meaningful. And I know that for a lot of people have basically, they'll say, oh, I don't care much about electoral politics anymore, right? Because they're jaded, they're burnt out on, I voted for the quote unquote right candidate for the right thing, the right person, and nothing's changed, or they didn't actually go in and work for me. And I really just think that this is something that we need to build from the ground up. And it starts with the most local level candidates, whether that's city council, school board. I mean, we elect judges, prosecutors.
Right.
And so even the really good local campaigns, they're only bringing out a dozen or so volunteers every weekend, right?
That's correct.
So if there's any organization, any group of people that can coalesce and have a lot of boots on the ground to get behind an issue or a candidate or whatever, you can have a huge impact in Toledo. And so I'm not telling you that voting is going to cure all, because we still need protest. We still need to put public pressure on our elected officials, even the ones that we supported, in their campaigns, right? Like, I'm not saying like, oh, we just got to vote and then you can go home. But what I'm saying is that you have a lot more agency and a lot more power than you think in getting those people elected. So when you see somebody in your community who maybe is, they're great on the megaphone at the protest, or
right,
they're really like, they have their hands in the dirt, they're doing the work, and then maybe you float this to them like, hey, you should run for city council next year.
That's right.
A lot of times they're going to be like, oh, no, I couldn't do that. Well, we need to really change that mindset of who politics is for, because I think politics is for everyone.
All right. Now, before we go, because we're getting close to that time, can you make some sense out of issue 1? That's going to be on the ballot. If that's something that you want to process today, or if that's something that you think we want to come back, or we'll come back with part 2.
Well, hey, issue 1 is something that we could spend a whole hour talking about probably.
Okay. All right.
And I think that is the problem with it. The way that I see it is that you basically have, I believe it's 12 changes to the city charter, the laws of the city, that's all being wrapped up into one ballot initiative. And so us, the voter, we're going to go in and we're going to vote yes or no on this one issue, but it's actually changing about 12 laws, I think. And so I think that I don't know how I'm going to vote on it, and I'm not recommending one way or the other, at least right now.
Okay.
Because I honestly haven't, had the time to delve into each individual thing. I've learned about a few of them, but what's getting headlines is the removal of term limits,
right?
And
right.
that's what people are leading with. So, yeah, I think that's something that we're going to have to break down in further detail. But I would just say that. The midterm elections are coming up in 56 days, I think.
That's right.
So it's about that time. I need you to go check your voter registration, go to voteohio.gov. And even if you are 99% certain that your voter registration is current, go double check it. It's going to take you all of like 2 minutes because they purge the voter rolls.
That's correct.
That people move and you forget to change your registration, or you move and you think you updated it, but it didn't go through. So I just need you to go double check. And then it's about that time to start researching what's going to be on the ballot. There's going to be a lot of ballot initiatives. There are, we've got all our big top line elections, but then we've got those state rep elections. We've got judges and all that kind of stuff. So make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into when you go to vote. So I think this is about the time to start paying attention to that stuff.
All right. Hey, listen, we're going to take a sharp turn to community shout outs and solutions. We're going to bring Jody in from the green room.
So I'm a sharp turn.
Yeah, it's a sharp turn, from talking about politics to, hey, talking about what's going on in the community. So first, for the people that may be streaming this for the first time, who are you and what is that you got on?
I had a sharp turn, interesting phrase of words. But what's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth. I'm the treasurer of this wonderful organization here that we have been continuing to go on through whatever politics, policy, reform, gentrification, BLM situation that's going on around the community. We are always striving to be there in some way, form, or another. For those of you listening out there, we appreciate you very much, whether you're on Spotify, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook listening to us live. And for those of you that are just listening, I've heard I got a very interesting voice and stuff like that, but I am a big brown skinned bear of a man that is covered in tattoos and crystals and stones and bones and fossils from all of my travels as an entertainer, poet, filmmaker, and all that good stuff right there. So that's who I am.
All right. And as far as that sharp turn,
yeah. Look, still alive.
Yeah, that's what I meant, because you just had a couple of sharp turns not too long ago, and I'm glad that you're well. I'm glad that you're well.
Dr. Strange did over this past week, see all the 14 million possibilities that could happen, but I'm the one that's still alive. We're the ones that are all still alive, but stuff happens.
Hey, listen, before we get into community shout outs in 5 minutes of heat, I want to just remind everybody that you can connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, and follow our YouTube, because this is probably where we need the most help right there. All right. We're Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo on YouTube, and also on Twitter whenever Julian starts tweeting again. So if you're hearing this, Julian, you got one job, right? You got one job, Julian. And also, if you want to support our efforts, you can support our efforts via Cash App, hashtag CSRN 419, PayPal, CSRN 419. And hey, we're going to keep this going. So thanks. And thanks for chiming in, Jody. Looks like you're downtown. You got to, whatever spot you got right now is an awesome spot for Wi-Fi. So I hope that you don't move, and I hope that fire engines come by right now. So, hey, what's going on with you regarding in the community? I saw you posting a lot of things. You had an event outside. So I'm not going to talk about all your events. Hey, what's going on?
Some stuff happened over the past couple of weeks. I'm always staying busy and focused and routine with things. I went back to Chicago to be two-time nominated Best Spoken Word Artist. Basically, the Grammys for us of those in that field and everything. And then, you know, I ain't come back home with a trophy, but still, I can say 2-time nominated more than anybody else in the state of Ohio or Toledo for that matter. So it was nice. It was honor. It was fun traveling there. Went to the zoo up there, saw first lions, tigers, and bears. I think we got them here, but I haven't been to our zoo in a very long time. Did some other stuff while up there, and then over the last couple of weeks, I guess you could say a weekend warrior. So mostly the weekends I try and get it done, and we had a thing at UT for microaggression. Shout out to the Black Graduates Student Association.
Okay.
I'm probably missing a letter in there, but shout out to all the poets and everybody that showed up for the microaggression event at UT. That was late Friday. It's on my page. It's on my page. I know I was tagged in it. Saw a lot of my friends, a lot of my poet people and everything. And yeah, the weekend before that, just before I went to Chicago, I went to the fundraiser for distant cousins and their son. Well, not the group, but anyway, for stuff like that, made some donations, saw some of my artist friends. And let's see, just a couple of days ago, we had the second annual Parking Lot Authors Party at Gathering Volumes, where it was my last pop-up tent, communed with about 30 or 40 other authors, poets, illustrators. We had a live painter there. So it was fun. All the proceeds from that go to the second annual Northwest Ohio Teen Book Festival, which we did this year at Rossford. We're probably going to bring it back. Shout out to Joni McKintry. Shout out to Curtis Dieter, all of the organizations gathering volumes for the wonderful, wonderful chance to get to see year 2, what it looks like. Let me think. I know there's a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know if Daniel, hey Daniel, good to see you. If he talked about that. If he mentioned about zombie crawl and stuff like that. I know we were talking politics just a moment ago.
Yeah, I'm on the. I was gonna say I should have said it earlier that I'm on the board for Village on Adams.
Okay.
And Jody is on there as well. He's taking a little break because, as you heard, he's just got 1,000,001 things on his plate. But the Village on Adams is the neighborhood organization that we take care of Adams Street between 21st and 11th Street. And so every year, I'm sure most people know that we put on the zombie crawl event. And this year it's October 8th. And I'm actually the volunteer coordinator for that.
Oh, okay.
So if you find Village on Adams on social media, or if you find me on social media, I'm at Ortiz for Toledo on everything. I can get you hooked up if you want to come volunteer with us and help put the event on.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful.
I saw you had some people on earlier, like where I clicked on, but I'm at work right now. But again, weekend warrior, you got to do what you can do. Some people saw some of the news the other day. It is, people don't want to work, but a lot of people don't know how to actually get back into the rhythm of work. So, as a soldier, you could do the job of 3 or 4 people. So, that's what I'm doing right now. Also, let's see, coming up events, because I know there's other stuff going on in the city, but I just finished my 10th book, 5th one written. Finished it last night. I do one final go over when I get off of work. Actually, both of you guys are getting copies. But hope maybe. It's kind of spoiler. We'll see how I feel when I get home and everything. I might do the Kindle release tomorrow for the childhood trauma series. And it's the best thing I ever wrote at the moment today.
Okay.
And what else we got? Momentum for the Arts Commission. Shout out everybody. Momentum is this weekend, the 15th through the 17th. I would suggest everybody that are used to it just being at one location, go to the website, because we're at the Art Museum, we're at Uptown Green, Promenade Park, and I believe the library too. It's like 4 different spots, all up with in conjunction with the Art Loop, and there's dancing in the streets on Adams. Hopefully they contacted y'all too about that, Danny. And let's see. Oh yeah, we got the 103rd anniversary of the Frederick Douglass Center on the 17th. I don't know if you talked about that, but
let me put the flyer up. Let me put the flyer up while you're talking about it.
We'll be there as sponsors. Yep.
Absolutely. And great job of making that happen, Jody. Great job of making that happen. We sent the logo And if you can, to please make sure if you can get a program. You know, if you can find a way to get a few programs, and we'll keep that as part of some of the things that we've done.
Yeah, well, I know you'll be there. We can come ride and stuff. You might not make it this one.
I may not make it. Yeah,
you may not make it, but that's okay. Again, that's why you sold your army of one. I
Yeah.
will be there. I get off at 5, so I'll be there. As soon as I get there, take some pictures.
Great.
You know, do the Jody thing. I wasn't here last week because, you know, sharp turns happen and stuff. So in conjunction with that, it's turned into a long thing. But I want to shout out Sean from Glazed and Gourmet on the 3rd annual Taco Wars. I came out there. I saw a whole bunch of vendors. It was beautiful. We didn't have to have city this or city that involved. It's just one man who actually known for, I think, a little bit over a decade. He was in my food class with me as we both got our chef's license and stuff like that too. But he's doing an awesome job with the Glazed and Gourmet funnel cakes. Also, the business building movement, connecting everybody, trying to keep the food trucks together, trying to keep us all prepared and aware. Because, you know, fall is coming, winter is coming. People don't like to pull up being like icicles and popsicles when they go to food trucks. So,
hey, maybe we'll get a popsicle truck in the winter. All right.
Get an
Hey.
indoor tent for all the food trucks.
All right. Hey. All
But
right.
shout out to him and that morning breakfast thing at the Doug that I went to. So,
Hey, you know what?
I think that's
you know what I think we missed? I think we
yes, Brooke. How can we forget Brooke? She's actually in my book too. Stop talking about the book.
Right. This is the Educated Activist Saturday program. Every Saturday, this has been from August 20th to October 8th. All participants are eligible to receive up to $120 in Walmart or Target gift cards. And I said, I'm going to try my best to sneak in and get a gift card. I hope nobody recognizes me. But listen, she said straight is free. And so if you think that you're too late, stop up there anyway. Let them know that Jody sent you, that you can join them. This is at Frederick Douglass every Saturday. What's the time on here? From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So let them know that Jody sent you, and I'll back him up.
Yep. So what's been going on with you? Any good news for you? Because again, I know I'm always coming in late, but any special project? How's the garden going?
Oh, the garden, Eden Garden is going well. We are about to close it on down. We're getting to the time where everyone's harvested everything that we could possibly harvest. We may have a couple of Sundays left. We meet every Sunday, at 4 p.m., 300 block of Boston Place. It is the only garden in the city that has a defund Toledo police sign and a Black Lives Matter sign. So you already know what it is when you pull up. Growing your own food is like printing your own money. So, yeah, so that. And also, I want to thank Lyman Humidop for helping to sponsor the Great Lakes Jazz Festival.
Yeah.
That was Saturday all day. And I worked being at our sponsor table and just to be able to meet everybody that came out for that. So great job for everybody that's been involved in that. I think that's all I need to, as far as my community shout outs and solutions. All right.
Hey, well, again, for anybody that's listening right now or just tuning in or may tune in later, as you see Danny on the show, and I know you had some people earlier because when I clicked on it, it showed the first little screenshot that wasn't me. I'll be back soon. Yeah, just message us on our page or holler at us in person, me or Brother Washington or Ruth or Julian. If you would like to come on, you got something good for the community and you want to promote it. We are working on YouTube, but again, it's there as a piece of history. We decided we couldn't have in-person meetings, so we didn't have to wait for people to go podcast. You can see the beginning, our hiccups and stuff, but we've continued with it for nearly 3 years now. So, and soon we'll have a live video audience. But for the reason people really come to hear my voice and stuff like that, we got 5 minutes of heat in a moment after Brother Washington introduces what 5 minutes of heat is.
All right. Now, usually whenever someone finishes a meeting or adjourns a meeting, they'll say whatever they say, they'll bang a gavel and everybody leaves. Well, we're people of rhythm. We've got soul. We got some creative expression. So I think that I thought that, you know what, instead of just ending the meeting, let's have someone do some creative expression. It could be a dance, it could be a song, some spoken word. And I gave it the title 5 minutes, 5 minutes of heat from an old rap song called 5 Minutes of Funk back in the 80s. I don't know if you were born. I doubt if Jody was born. But anyway, hey, and it stuck. And here we are, and Jody has been just beautiful to be able to share his skill, to share his art, to share his love with us regarding spoken word. He's also a chef too. He's also a writer and an illustrator, and he's a lot of other things that I may not have seen all those gifts, but the ones that I've seen, we definitely have benefited from that. So 5 minutes of heat, Jody Summers, Jay Summers, child of the system, spoken truth. That's a meal. All of those things are him and even more. Brother, what do you have for us today?
So today, recently, I just lost one person I knew through relations and one person that I knew from the beginning of my career. His name was Flaglito. We had the candle vigil for him yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And that was murder. I want to say 40, either 43 or 8. I'm always off by 5. I don't know why. But and when we did the motorcycle ride, me and Rochelle for Stop the Gun Violence, we were only at like 35 or 33. Yeah, I'm off because I don't really check on that stuff because I try and just be there when I can. So I know a lot of people are going through stuff. So we're going to take it back to poem number 5 out of the childhood trauma series. It's a piece called Crucible. One of my first, they called it a CWTCH. It's a Dutch term for a poem that means a hug. So I think everybody could use a hug.
All right.
So let's begin. Peace. Crucible. I forgive you for being human. It's not your fault that you have a big heart and you allow people to tug on the strings that you openly give them. I forgive you for seeing the good in people, even if it's only a shadow of the past person that they once were. I forgive you for your past and all the traumas you had to live through, all the surviving you had to see, and lessons you have yet to be taught. I forgive you for forgiving people, no matter how many times they hurt you and disappoint you with the things that you would never do to them. I forgive you for believing in forevers, that there has to be some type of fairy tale ending waiting at the end of this rainbow of broken tears and shattered dreams that won't wind up being another illusion for you to find yourself again. I forgive you for being silent when you know you wanted to speak up. Stand proud in your own conviction, but yet you dwindled and crumbled because you believed your truth wasn't enough. I forgive you for accepting those labels people put on you, calling yourself weird, strange, outcast, black sheep, and not accepting that you are the most unique, beautiful thing that has ever lived the history of your story. I forgive you for the isolation you put yourself through and the years of reconstruction to feel whole again. I forgive you for giving too much too quickly to people who only listen and never comprehend, who are only interested in the words and not the emotions of survival that brought those moments to life. I forgive you For the people you do not, yes, you do not forgive. I forgive you for not reaching out in times when you know you needed it. I forgive you for being human. I forgive you for not being able to control your emotions in certain areas that you are passionate about and over explaining to people who will never understand the contrast of the picture you are painting. I forgive you for apologizing to people who hurt you only because you know somewhere deep down this hurts them too. I forgive you for the tears you cried over situations that were never, no, never meant for you. I forgive you for the times you quit and gave up on dreams becoming realities that did not quite fit your lifestyle at the time. I forgive you for suitcasing your traumas so deeply within you they become landmines that people trigger across before you could even give them warning. I forgive you for those walls you built. I forgive you for that hurt you hold. I forgive you for the love, yes, the love you withhold from yourself. I forgive you for wanting to save everyone, no matter how much it damages yourself. I forgive you for every time you cussed out your creator, thinking you were being punished when it was only a lesson to teach you wisdom so you could grow to be this strong. I forgive you for feeling too fat, skinny, ugly, boring, withdrawn, quiet, shy, explosive, smart, dumb, or self-absorbed to ever, yes, ever belong. I forgive you for the time it took for you to say, I forgive you. I forgive you for being human and hope, yes, hope that you will accept this apology from yourself. In peace.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jody. Beautiful, beautiful. You know, as always, brother, you bring it. Listen, before we even close out, what inspired you to write that? What, you know,
Well, at the time, that was number 5 of taking this journey of diving deep within myself and figure out the problems that I had, my friendships, my relationships, jobs, attachment issues, things that I like never really talked about. And even when I did get close to people, it was just like, I can't throw this baggage on you. So you just kind of bury it. And at this piece, I looked in the mirror. And basically, the idea was me forgiving myself for all these things I had never talked about, all these unpacked bags and things that had always bared on my life, but I never really had nobody to speak them to. And the title came from I know a few glass blowers, and one of the items they use is called a crucible, and it's used to put very, very hot, intense, volatile substances in. So I thought about all those emotions, and basically, you would need a crucible to hold all of them for as long as you do.
right. Well, thank you. Before we close out with the solidarity pledge, I didn't list our Nguzu Saba word of today, and that's Kumba, creativity, to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. So what I'm going to do right now, and I hope that we have our time delay. You and I are going to have. Okay, we're gonna have to see each other on this.
Yep. Also, we gotta talk about the music. I've been getting some some hits at the beginning of the show. So
okay, yeah, we had I don't know who. Oh,
they change it. It's kind of weird, Like one week it'll be free, and next week somebody buys it and then they throw it away. So I don't know. I mean, it's not bad. It's just like one country out of the world, but it's still, some people take things down for less than that. So for those of you that might listen to other places and you're like, I can't hear it, we're working on that.
Yeah, we are. So at this time, I need your help, Jody. I'm going to say, this is our solidarity pledge, and And Daniel, if you like to say it with us, this is our kind of a contract that we have with ourselves. Doing this work can be difficult, all right? And most grassroots organizations implode within a few months, all right, because of personality issues and us not liking Jody, not liking the hat that he's wearing, all that type of stuff, all right? And trust me, people have come apart for less, all right? So I'm going to say I, and if you like to say it with us, you can. And I'm going to say your name, and this is our solidarity pledge. You ready, Jody?
Yep.
All right. Say I.
I.
Your name.
Jody.
Pledge to strive.
Pledge to strive.
To love my brothers and my sisters.
To love my brothers and my sisters.
As I love myself.
As I love myself.
I.
Your
name.
Jay Summers.
Pledge to strive.
Pledge to strive.
To study.
To study.
To improve myself.
To improve myself.
Spiritually.
Spiritually.
Mentally.
Mentally.
Morally.
Morally.
And physically.
And physically.
For the benefit of myself.
For the benefit of myself.
My family.
My family.
And my people.
And my people.
I.
Your
name.
Child of the system.
Pledge to strive.
Pledge to strive.
To be a part of the solution.
To be a part of the solution.
The process.
The process.
And not the problem.
And not the problem.
I.
Your
name.
Spoken truth.
Pledge to strive.
Pledge to strive.
Give all that I could spare.
To give all that I can spare.
Of my time.
Of my time.
My strength.
My strength.
And energy.
And energy.
To achieve the above said.
To achieve the above said.
All right, Jody. Hey, listen, family, for all that will be streaming this and have watched this, we want to thank you for joining us today. Daniel, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Jody, we're going to try to have Daniel back at least every other week. We're going to have Ortiz World, a look into Toledo politics as he sees it. And
he's ran a couple times, so
right.
I think he would be a very good person to be there to help us out within those endeavors.
Right. And if they don't like what he says, we're free to give them his address. All right. That's the part that he didn't know. But listen, and as always, all lives can't matter until Black lives matter. And Black lives can't matter until all Black lives matter. Justice or else.